On your journey to financial freedom, is it better for you to take the hard earned money that you're saving and stack it towards investments such as stocks, crypto, gold and silver, real estate? Or is it better to take your hard earned money and put it towards credit cards and loans and bad debt? So, this is a question that'll obviously vary per individual. The best way I can obviously explain this to you guys and try and help you guys out is first and foremost, one, this is not ever financial advice. So, if you guys ever want to consult a financial advisor, please do so and they'll help you out with anything of that manner. This is just for education and entertainment purposes only. Now that we have that out of the way, I can explain to you guys and share a story of our personal goal, because remember, in this channel I want to help you guys get one step closer to your dream of your version of financial freedom, and you cannot get there if you guys have bad debt. And debt is a very, very, almost like a shunned topic. People don't want to talk about it. People are swiping their credit cards and not looking at it. And I think right now in the US, there is credit card debt has hit an all-time high. So it is definitely happening as we speak. So a question that I ran into when I first started getting into investing and getting into the game of obtaining financial freedom was, well, let's say I have an additional $5,000. Should I use that to buy stocks, or should I use it to pay down my bad debt? And again, I can only share the story of what we had done and the route we took. And I can give you guys examples, of course, real life examples, and kind of like mock activities on how this is beneficial. But again, I will go ahead and tell you my story. When it comes down to obtaining financial freedom, it will be difficult to invest. It'll be difficult to purchase things when you have negative 27, 30% on your credit cards. That is negatively impacting your ability to stack and grow on the opposite direction of the curve. And so the best way I can think about this is, let's say you have three credit cards. Three credit cards, each one has different total amounts. So the first one has $1,000, the second one has $2,000, and the third one has $4,000, for a total of $4,000 of bad debt. So we'll say credit card debt. And each of them, for whole number's sake, is 20% interest. Now, in the credit card world, that's not out of the realm of possibility, because most credit cards have something like 27.99% interest on them anyways. So on the $1,000 credit card, your interest at 20% is about $200 in interest. The interest in the $2,000 credit is about $400 in interest, and the payment of interest on the $4,000 credit card is about $800. That's how crazy that is. And so when you're trying to project growth on investments, some things, guys, like the stock market and gold and silver and crypto, these things, and in even the real estate market, has a slower yield curve going up. You know, the S&P 500 has anywhere between 7, 8, and 9% growth. So if you're trying to stack 7 to 8 to 9% on a positive investment, and yet you have credit cards that is 27% interest, that is negatively affecting your ability to break away into the financial freedom world. So the best scenario and the best way to tackle this is, most of you guys already know this, out of all the financial investment gurus or financial freedom gurus out there, Dave Ramsey is my least favorite, I would say. It's just that he's very safe, and of course, his methods doesn't allow for just my style. We'll just leave it at that. But it doesn't mean that the information that he gives, some of the information, doesn't mean it's all bad information. And in this scenario, the one information that I like from him is knocking out the order of the credit cards so that you can actually pay all that off and start heading towards the opposite direction, which is stacking investments and real estate and stocks, going the opposite side of that yield curve. And so let's say you do have those three credit cards. Which one should you pay off first? Sometimes it is natural for us to pay off the big one first so that now you're saving $800 from interest payments and it feels good, but it takes longer to pay that off. So what Dave Ramsey says is you should knock out the smallest credit card first. Why? Mentally, it's good because now you're feeling confident, you're stacking wins, and the interest payment on that smaller credit card now gets put, you could put that aside and use it to pay the next credit card. Okay, so what do I mean by that? It is easier to pay off the smaller credit cards because, right, we all have bills to pay. We all have mortgage, cars, insurance, and when those payments are done, you only have a little left over to go towards credit cards and stuff like that. So that's very valuable dollars. And let's say you're only able to save about $250 a month that can go towards credit cards. So if you have a $1,000 credit card, let's say it's a Chase, a $2,000 Discover, and a $4,000 Amex, the best thing to do is to knock out the $1,000 Chase card first. And you will knock that out, so $250 in increments of 4. So in 4 months, you should be able to pay that off, and you will save yourself $200 a month in interest. So now that $200 that was normally going to that credit card, you can now have $250 plus the $200 and add it to the next card, which is $2,000. Okay, so let me reel that back. The $1,000 credit card completely paid off. The $200 that you were paying in interest on that card can now be used to be paid towards the next card. So it has a compounding effect on paying credit cards. So now let's jump to being able to pay off the $2,000 credit card. Now not only are you saving yourself $200 on interest payments on the $1,000 credit card, you're now also saving $400 in interest from the $2,000 credit card. So now you've freed up almost $600 that you were normally paying to those credit cards, and now you have paid off 2 credit cards and you have 1 left, and the money that you guys were paying on interest in the other 2 credit cards can now be used to pay off the final credit card. Okay, so there is definitely a method to all this madness. People just need to be taught, and not a lot of people know how to do these things. Before, people would just, especially someone like me, my younger self, you have all these credit cards and all I was doing was paying the minimum on it, and I wasn't getting anywhere. Credit cards were getting rich because they were getting minimum payments, full-blown interest, and my principal balance wasn't actually even going down. So this is one of those topics that isn't really as sexy as the other ones, like what's the best side hustle to make you all this money? What is the best crypto that'll moonshot and get you $1 million? What is the best real estate deals? Those are always sexy topics. The non-sexy topics is stuff that is still very important and still one of those key steps to getting you closer to your goal of financial freedom. So getting rid of bad debt is definitely a must, and it's something that should be on your blueprint as you are actually starting to take steps towards your goal of financial freedom. It is difficult to get ahead when you have negative interest payments from credit cards working against you. Okay, so there are multiple ways you can do this. There's other YouTubers out there that I've seen. They're like extreme on how they tackle these things, but the best way I can imagine is make sure you guys are living well below your means. It is difficult. We are all, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna generalize. We are all guilty of wanting to shop, wanting to spend, wanting to eat out. Brandy and I were checking out our expenses. And before we got aligned, we shopped a lot and we ate out a lot. That's one of my guilty pleasures is eating out, Uber Eats, DoorDash, pizza, and it just wasn't good. By the time you noticed it, you were spending anywhere between $30 to $40 per Uber Eats. And if you do that on multiple times a week, you've already spent hundreds, $300 to $400 a week on eating out alone, which is crazy because we were actually thinking about this. How conditioned we have been to looking at groceries, and if I spend something ridiculous like, Brandy and I will spend $150 in groceries. And I'm like, oh my gosh, $150 in groceries. But actually the food that we got will last us a week to two. So a lot of meals in that $150. And yet it hurts us to pay $150 in groceries. But when we go out to eat and have a nice fat steak, a nice rack of lamb with mashed potatoes on a steak night, your bill is easily $80, $100, and we don't ever bat an eye. We don't ever blink when we spend these things. Today, I'll give you a real life example. Today, I bought myself, I went to the World Market and bought myself some ramen. Super clean. I love it. It has really clean ingredients, comes from Japan. And it's like my cheat sheet. So I love having a nice bowl of ramen a couple times a week. And I spent maybe $60. And I was like, God, $60 for ramen, that's ridiculous. But I got like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 of those like clean ramen bowls. So each one is about a meal. So what is the math on that? I said I got about 8 of them. 60 divided by 8. It's about $7 a meal, so to speak. Okay. But if we go out for a steak night, oh, I'm sorry. Go back to story. So I spent $60 on ramen, but I also bought Brandy and I some pho. So I got 2 pho orders and 2 fresh spring rolls, and that was $50 for one meal. But I was like, amazing! I love pho, and we don't have to cook and all this stuff. But do you see what I'm talking about? Who else does that? Where we don't bat an eye on the amount of food we spend when we eat out. We're just so conditioned to just swiping it when we go out to eat. McDonald's, nice dinners, semi-nice restaurants, Chipotle. But when we go out to restaurants, we don't ever bat an eye when the bill is $40, $60, $80, $120. When we went to Florida for New Year's, our meals for the family was anywhere between $200 to $400. Passing around who pays the paycheck. That's crazy. You know how many groceries you can buy for $400? A lot. So if we're talking about the groceries that Brandy and I were spending, which is $150, that's like 2.5 weeks worth of groceries, which is a lot of meals. I just don't know why we got conditioned that way. But what I'm trying to say is live below your means. Start blocking out things that you don't need. I know it's difficult. It's very difficult. We struggle with it even now, even today. But when you start eliminating some of these expenses, you're going to start to immediately feel that in your bank account. You're going to say, wow, I actually have a lot more money in my account, or not a lot of things swiped on my credit card because of not shopping, because of not eating out. So now Brandy and I try to eat out at least, we have an agreement, we'll eat out at least one nice dinner a week so that, we're still feeling like we're living, but at the same time, we're also eliminating bad debt, but at the same time, we're also investing for our future, right? So this is one of those things that is important. The steps to take is important right now. Now is the time. And geez, my little puppy over here, can you guys hear him snoring? Titus spoke. He said, "You will listen to me snore." So these are the steps to take now, not later. So I want you guys to really take stuff like this very seriously, because it's not always sexy topics. It's not always the latest and hottest and most amazing way to make $150,000 and the best side hustle to build, but there are other, I would say, branches to master and perform on your way to, again, your version of financial freedom. Being able to handle finances, eliminating debt, investing, and of course, like any, your savings, there are multiple branches into financial freedom. It's not just making an S ton of money. It's all those things. If you're not disciplined in all those things, you're going to struggle always. Just because you make a lot of money, the lifestyle creep might start to catch up to you. I just saw a video the other day of this one guy. He did very, very well, not only in YouTube, but in crypto. And he bought himself a Ferrari SF90. I think it was for like $600,000 back in 2022 or something like that. Needless to say, he fast forward to today, 2024, and he is now underwater on that car, $200,000, negative $200,000 in negative equity, and he cannot get rid of it. He's now drowning because of that car. And what happened there? He got an influx of capital. He didn't master the disciplines of the other branches of financial freedom and got caught up with lifestyle creep. And now instead of investing that money to and positioning himself to be in a better place, he's now trying to get rid of a car, getting buried by the car payment, and he has almost no options right now. Imagine being in that position. So that's why it's important to master these first. Eliminate your debt. Once you eliminate your debt, you're freeing up all that money that was used up to pay in interest charges is now freed up. It goes back into your pocket. And now once you can breathe, once you've paid up the credit cards, now we can start moving into the fun stuff, which is investing in whatever your flavor of investing style is, whether that's stocks, crypto, gold and silver, so precious metals, real estate. These are the fun things that we can start to talk about, but you cannot move to the fun stuff if you have the bad debt weighing you down, counteracting all the gains that you're trying to make with the investing side. And that's a good way to look at it. It's difficult to invest if you choose to take your hard-earned money of $250 a month and choose to invest it, and you're only getting an 8% return throughout the year, but your credit cards are murdering you with 27% interest. It is negating the 8% that you made from that investment. I hope that makes sense. So it's important to eliminate your credit card first before we can start going into the fun stuff. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I will see you guys next time.